You're listening to A View from the Cheap Seats Wrestling Podcast.
Happy New Year, everyone. And, well, it was going to be a Happy New Year for a lot of us, because what were we going to do as wrestling fans? We were going to watch the first ever time that New Japan Pro Wrestling came to the States on pay-per-view, live, or tape delayed, depending on your cable company. Live would have been, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I know a lot of people actually sacrificed their sleep to get that. And I think a lot of other people said, no, I'm going to wait for the prime time airing. Tape delay, if you will. I was one of those few that said, hey, screw it. It's between Saturday and Sunday. It's the weekend. Let's have some fun. Let's watch some wrestling. And then I found out my cable company, which will remain nameless because I don't want them to screw up my internet while I'm trying to do this podcast, took away my pay-per-view channels without telling me. Yay! All I had left was a couple 3D pay-per-view channels, which I don't even use because I have no ability to watch 3D television because I don't have a 3D TV. Why are those there? I don't know. Really annoying. But yeah, so randomly, I don't know when, my cable company decided, yeah, you don't need pay-per-view channels anymore. We're going to take those away from you. Least you could do send me an email, a letter, anything other than me, close to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, clicking over going, where the hell are my pay-per-view channels? So this is going to be a very bitter start to this podcast because I'm bitter. I'm extremely bitter about this. My cable company, I don't like to curse too much on this show, but hey, they can suck a dick. Absolutely, suck it right there because that's some bullshit business practices for you. Like not even telling your customer you've taken something away from them. And I don't know if I can get it back. I've tried talking to them, and I don't think I can get it back. So, yeah, good thing I got the WWE Network. Weirdly enough, so I can actually watch WWE pay-per-views. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe they got sick of people. I don't know. Whatever it is, I was super angry and super tired. So I was like, oh, everyone's going to watch this cool show that I'm not going to see. Well, luckily, we do live in a great internet age and a lot of information. So I was able to sort of piece together the show, but not the full show. I haven't seen a lot of the matches. I haven't seen the main event matches. Let me put it that way. I've seen clips and pieces of the main event matches. I've seen GIFs. But I haven't seen the matches themselves. I would love to see the matches themselves. I'd love to get a full show. Maybe if it was popular enough, maybe they can release it on DVD or something, maybe Blu-ray or whatever. But here, before I even talk about the show, I want to talk about why this got a lot of wrestling fans excited. I want to talk about why this is probably a good thing, but maybe not the correct steps to take. Why is this a good thing? If you've been listening to the show, you may remember me saying a couple times that one of the reasons why WWE is probably not at its best anymore is because there's no direct competition. As much as people love ROH and Lucha Underground or TNA, I'm sure they're out there, they're not direct competition. There's no threat by them. TNA has shrunk down. It's moved to a new station, Destination America, but nothing's really changed about it. The organization's still the same way. There's still the same people in charge and about the same roster they had for the last couple of years. No direct competition. They don't even do monthly pay-per-views. I think they do, I mean 4 months, I think there's a pay-per-view or something. Because they can't afford it anymore. No direct competition. ROH finally got on the pay-per-view for the first time. Real pay-per-view, not iPay-per-view. Twice last year. In the middle and at the end. That's cool, but it's still not direct competition. ROH is still very small compared to the WWE. If anything, there may be competition for NXT. That's about it. Lucha Underground. Nice little show. Extremely niche. The more I've watched it, though, the more I realize it's not really Lucha Libre. It's more Lucha Americanized. I mean, yeah, good matches, but I really love the multi-person matches. And they haven't had, any. They have a couple tag matches, that's it. But I want to see 6-mans and 8-mans and Cyberneticos and shit like that. That's what I like from Lucha Libre. And Lucha Underground is kind of cool, but it's still very niche and very... I don't think it's going to grow how they want it to grow. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So there's nothing. So WWE's become stagnant. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. New Japan, on the other hand, is one of the biggest wrestling promotions in Japan. But there's a lot of wrestling promotions in Japan. New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragon Gate, Osaka. They vary in sizes, but New Japan is one of their biggest. As you can tell if you watch the Tokyo Dome show, if you're one of the lucky people that didn't have a pay-per-view channel removed. That's a running joke. Get used to it. So for them to come over and say, well, let's finally put out our product on pay-per-view. Ooh, that could be some competition if you think about it. Now, I don't think they have as many pay-per-views as WWE does, 12 pay-per-views. I'm not as familiar with New Japan's pay-per-view process. They may only have a couple a year. They're really big ones like the G1 Climax tournaments and stuff like that. Maybe that's it. Tokyo Dome show, obviously one of their biggest, because they kept calling it their version of WrestleMania. So it's interesting to see that sort of come into play. Like, ooh, okay, that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling, which I don't even think is a promotion. I'm beginning to think Global Force Wrestling is like an agency, if you think about it. Like, because they don't have any wrestlers. They're not touring. It's just Jeff Jarrett going around going, hey, I like this. Let's promote this. Like, yeah, they're like a promoter. Not really. Like, they help promote this and get it on the pay-per-view. That's about it. They don't have... It's not a wrestling promotion yet, to my knowledge. Maybe it's supposed to be. I don't know. It's confusing. But they got it on pay-per-view. But here's the thing I don't like. Here's the thing I feel like they got really excited for, but didn't think it all the way through. They got it on pay-per-view, yes. They got it on pay-per-view live at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning for some people. That's not prime time at all in terms of any sort of marketing, any sort of program. That's terrible. And I know it's like, well, it's live, it's simulcast. Okay, I get that. That's cool. I like the idea of simulcast. But at screwy 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, only the hardcore wrestling fans are going to watch that show. Now, luckily, like I said, some of the cable companies said, like, well, that's weird. Let's put it on prime time on Sunday, like usual. And people saw that, but I don't think it was well promoted outside of the hardcore. Yeah, people who know about this, I hate using this term, but I use this term on myself, is the smart marks. Yeah, we're going to watch it because we love it. We love it. Real big pro wrestling from Japan. You have a good mixture of high flying, but a lot of hard hitting, a lot of really cool stuff going on. Yeah, we'll watch it, but, the casuals, the ones who, buy the merch and buy all of the tickets and things like that and buy pay-per-views, they're not going to watch it because it's too early or too late in the night. And also, I guarantee you, most of the casuals didn't know this was happening because they only promoted it to the hardcore fans, to us, the smart marks, the guys who sit down and watch and make wrestling podcasts. That's not an insult, by the way. That's a compliment for everyone else out there who makes wrestling podcasts. Ding. Or wrestling videos. Ding. Try not to insult everyone all at once. So, and here's the thing. I come from a very business background. And international business was something that I absolutely found compelling and fascinating. And I think if promoted correctly, you could have some semblance of competition with New Japan invading the United States. Now, Japan's not, in terms of exporting a lot of their stuff, and people say like, well, they export a lot. Yes, they do. But some things don't come over here. They're wrestling, New Japan, All Japan, that rarely makes it over here. You'll get every so often a tour of some of the guys that work for them, and maybe an independent guy will pay out a lot of money. Heck, I saw Jushin Thunder Liger years upon years ago in New Jersey because Ring of Honor brought him over for a weekend. So you'll get the little things every so often, but we haven't had, at least I don't think in recent memory, like a Japanese company coming over here going, we're going to put on a show for you. Well, I mean Japanese company. I mean big. New Japan, All Japan. Dragon Gate USA is like an offshoot. They were the first. They were like testing the waters. But even now, Dragon Gate USA is more US wrestlers than the Dragon Gate wrestlers, I've noticed. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe like that they came over with them and like, all right, we said it. Now it's your turn to kind of move it forward. We won't have as many guys tour. Because I haven't seen a lot of the Dragon Gate guys come over with Dragon Gate USA. It's all been mostly US guys, which is fine. It's not like I'm going to complain about good wrestling, but it seems like it started that way, and then this is how it's ended up. And I don't want that for sort of like New Japan. I think New Japan could get themselves probably a pretty good presence in the wrestling world, at least the Western wrestling world, if they did it correctly. You know, how I'm not, and again, they're like, well, how do you do that? It's a little hard. I think introducing the pay-per-views first was a good idea. The timing of it, the time frame of when pay-per-views airs and how it's promoted, that can change. I don't mind tape delays. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Something that's international, I don't mind it at all. If this sounds selfish, it makes me a little bit more comfortable to be saying like, they have a big pay-per-view coming up, and it'll be tape delayed for the U.S. at Sunday for 7 o'clock p.m. or 6 o'clock or whatever it is. It's like, oh, okay, I can get home in the evening and watch it at my leisure, things like that. I don't have to stay up super late or get up super early to watch something I like. First world problems. So that's why it's good for New Japan to come in. I think it's good to try to build up sort of a competition, but it's not an instantaneous thing, and I don't know if they'll do it again. It depends on how successful this was. I mean, the show sounded successful, and from the few matches I actually did see, yeah, it looked extremely successful. But that was sort of it. I haven't seen the whole show. I'll tell you what, these are the matches that I've seen. I think the reason I saw most of these is because they actually involved a lot of the different wrestler guys. I saw their 4-way match for their IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. I think the reason I saw that because Red Dragon, who is the ROH Tag Team Champions, amongst other Tag Team Championships I think they hold, Red Dragon were a part of it. And it was a good little 4-way. Who else was a part of that? Oh, that's right. It was the Forever Hooligans of Alex Kozlov and Rocky Romero, Time Splitters of Alex Shelley and Kushida, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. So Super Kick City all the way, and it was. And that's really kind of cool. You know, what's kind of it's cool, but also what's interesting is that's a lot of foreign talent going after their tag belts, one of their tag belts. And you think about it, there was only one Japanese guy in that whole thing for Time Splitters. Well, maybe it's Alex Shelley. Maybe count Alex Shelley too, because he's been over there for God knows how long now. So, but it was cool. It was fast paced. It had some nice spots into it. And spoiler alert: Red Dragon retained. I didn't expect Red Dragon to retain. To be honest with you, I thought Red Dragon was probably going to lose it to someone there, and then that would be the end of seeing Red Dragon in New Japan. But no, they retained. Congrats on them. And then I saw was it a 6-man? Yeah, it was a 6-man tag match. The reason I saw this was Kojima was in it. Kojima was one of my favorite, I think, Japanese wrestlers. He's been around for a long time. He's a huge veteran. And Hama, who I remember, I remember him from the deathmatch and stuff I used to watch. So to see him come in and not be in a deathmatch match, I was like, well, this is just strange. And apparently, like, he's one of the more popular guys, but he always loses. It's one of those things. Versus members of the not Bad Luck Club. It was the Bullet Club. It was a Bad Luck Flail who was on the team, along with Jeff Jarrett. So strange to see Jeff Jarrett wrestle in Japan. And Yoshihiro Tashaki. I'm going to say these names terribly. But I saw that 6-man, and it was an alright 6-man. It was a short 6-man. And then I saw another 8-man, which was more along the lines of a different, I guess, faction, featuring Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, who wrestles locally where I am. So to see him in Japan is also going, huh? What are you doing over there? Shelton Benjamin, which I haven't seen in ages, and a couple other guys. Again, the guys I don't know because they're mostly from Japan, or they were from, I think they had some guys from Pro Wrestling Noah in that match. And that was cool. And then the only other match I think I saw was AJ Styles versus Nieto, which was just a singles match because AJ Styles lost the IWGP Heavyweight title a while ago. And it was a great match. I saw that they were sort of teasing Styles doing the Styles Clash all the time before winning. And I was kind of wondering what's going on. And I was looking it up. And Styles had like broken 2 guys' necks last year using the Styles Clash. One of them being former WWE wrestler Yoshitatsu. I didn't know that happened, which is very strange. I knew Yoshi was in the hospital. I didn't realize he was in the hospital because he had a Styles Clash and it broke his neck, which is starting to tell me that move might not be the best move anymore. When the Styles Clash first sort of debuted, I realized it was kind of an interesting looking move, and it was a neat looking move. But now it's really starting to injure guys. So I don't know if it's the fact that it's the way that Styles is delivering said move, or the way the move is being handled by the opponent, or the guy taking it, that is causing so many injuries. But I'm beginning to think, hey, 2 broken necks in 1 year, maybe it's time, just a little bit, to think about retiring said move. Because it's obviously becoming dangerous, you know? And I've never called AJ Styles a dangerous wrestler. I don't think AJ Styles is a dangerous wrestler, you know? So to see that move happening and hurting guys, it's starting to go, all right, well, obviously something's wrong and we need to be fixed. But it was actually a great little back and forth match. The Bullet Club thing is just NWO, if people are confused. Like, first timers watching is like, well, who's the Bullet Club? What's the Bullet Club? The Bullet Club's NWO. That's what it is. It's the NWO. It's Western NWO. We as Westerners, we're sort of invading New Japan and using our style and our tactics over theirs, and they don't like it, obviously. Well, I take that back. There's a couple of people who do like the Bullet Club in Japan. But it's basically the NWO. They even have the Too Sweet. And they say, too sweet me. Too sweet me. And they'll do the little thing. So, yeah. So, anyone who's confused about that, they are the NWO. I wish I saw the main events. I really do. I haven't seen the main events. The 2 championship matches, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match and the IWGP Heavyweight, because apparently those are the matches that really made the whole show. Obviously, the big 2 main events, they're going to make the whole show. I didn't see them. I heard they were great. I heard they were wonderful. I haven't seen them yet. If I'm lucky, I might search around. I might find them again, but I hope that they might try, and since this was sort of a risk, I think another risk would be to distribute DVDs and or Blu-rays of the show to the States for the first time. That, I think, will help in trying to get the word out a little bit, because that can be like, I can buy that, and then I can show my friends. I'm like, hey, this is some stuff from Japan. And they're like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll get some other guys, maybe some casual wrestling fans, like, oh, that's, okay, maybe I want to check these guys out a little bit more, you know. Because word of mouth is the greatest way of spreading anything. And to get word of mouth, you have to actually see it. People have to see it and go, oh, wow, and spread it. And you could say in the age of social media, that's actually a lot easier now. And I think, I imagine it is. But still in social media, you get stuck in circles. So yeah, so you might have some pro wrestling forums that go like, yeah, this is a great show. Again, that's just a small circle and you're not really spreading the word. And you're speaking to the gospel, you know. Or was it speaking to the gospel, speaking of the gospel, whatever. I'm not really religious. So how is it that this is going to happen? Will this change the landscape? No. Unfortunately, it's not going to change the landscape. If continued, if promoted a little bit better, if pushed a little bit more, could it change the landscape? Could it be competition for WWE? Maybe, but not in 2015. It's going to take a while for it to get a hold of. And at the same time, does New Japan want to conquer the United States for the wrestling? Or do they just want to hang out in Japan since they already have a really good fan base there? And that's another question altogether. The only thing I'm going to take away from this, though, is it's great to hear JR's voice again. He was on commentary with Matt Striker. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in one of those minorities that while it's great to hear JR, I don't think he can handle play-by-play as much anymore. There was some times, though, he got into his old self, but there was also times that he was struggling greatly to get what he wanted to say outwards. And Matt Striker, yes, I know you're a fan, but Matt Striker, you could be a little bit of a super fan. You don't have to convince us you're a fan on the commentary every time you're on commentary. Like, we like you. You're very smart. You're very knowledgeable. Tone it down just a little bit, you know. He got chastised. One of the things I remember on this, he got chastised for using kayfabe terms by JR. Because I remember he said, like, this guy swerved the audience. And JR went, he lied? He lied to the audience. He lied. I've never been swerved in my life. I don't know what that term means. Which got, you know, a kind of funny chuckle from Matt Striker. But I was like, I'm on JR's side. He's like, no, he lied. I think swerve is inside term. We don't use inside term on commentary. That makes you feel like, you know, it doesn't sound correct, you know? But in the other case, to everyone who says that was a great show, I believe you. Hopefully I will see all of the great show. In the meantime, I'm stuck with clips and matches sporadically thrown out about the internet. But there you go. That was my view from Wrestle Kingdom 9, from what I saw of it, and the fact that my cable company can, and once again, can suck a dick because it took away my pay-per-view channels without telling me. So that's all the time I have for this week. Hope everyone's enjoyed the show. Please, if you like me, I have a Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. Sometimes I post stuff up there. Anything, like questions, send me emails, whatever. Hope you've enjoyed this show because it's going to be a long road to WrestleMania, everyone. I hope you're going to buckle in. But that's it. So, till next time, everyone.